just want it all. I just want it all. Wanna break the law, shipping off the wall. Hit me when I call. Hit me when I call. Hit me at all.
We made it.
We fucking made it. Season finale, episode fucking 10.
Finally.
The Nickelodeon episode. Fuck Nickelodeon.
Why you gotta say it like that, bro?
I don't watch this fucking documentary. Fucking, what was it? 8 hours of fucked up my childhood.
So I haven't watched it yet.
Shout out to Keenan and Kel.
Is they still good? They still valid?
Yeah.
All right.
So far.
Is it a season 2 coming out or something? Or more episodes coming out?
That shit. I don't really sympathize with white pain, but this episode, I was really feeling for these white people.
I haven't watched it. I have not watched it. I've seen a lot of clips about it. I've seen clips from it. I've seen parts of the interview after that Dan Schneider did.
Right.
And I've seen people's like reaction and stuff, but I haven't watched it. Not so much that I don't have the stomach for it. I just feel like a lot of the things that I saw were covered on it. I knew about or like heard about before.
Right.
And I don't know if I want to really ruin but I am going to watch it. I think I'm going to binge watch it. So
yeah, I still feel like they didn't go in
to detail
as they should. I feel like it's still covered up. They kind of threw the pickle boy nigga under the bus. Dan Schneider, they touched up on shit he did, but it was still kind of like, I feel like he just was the fat kid that was bullied. So he's taking it out on all these popular kids.
So I didn't watch it, like I said. So I did not watch it. Tell me, Pickle Boy, because I remember the Pickle Boy scene, but I like what.
So like, there's a part where the fucking pickles is actually subliminally dick jokes. So there's a part where
which is a lot of that in every type of show, like every cartoon kid show.
I didn't get none of it as a kid.
Like
the glory hole shit, I was just like, yo.
That I did see. It was like what with Ray Romano.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm so hungry. And he's like, have a pickle. He puts it through the little hole.
Yeah,
like,
he puts the
definitely a
pickle
glory
through the
hole. I'll be
like,
watching.
Okay, that's a glory hole. But this nigga was like a groomer and shit too. So,
I think the big thing is like they used to say, which I think is bullshit, but they used to say that these little innuendo jokes were for the parents watching with the kids. And like, oh, kids don't know that it's what we're talking about. It's for the parents so they're not bored. But it's like, no, like that's not cool. That's not. I
feel like my parents wasn't watching this shit with me. So I'm just watching this shit throughout the day of Nickelodeon. You just laughing at everything as a kid, but
not seeing until you rewatch as
you're
an adult.
Older and you're like, oh shit, like this shit is fucking inappropriate as fuck.
So Pickle Boy guy was actually like arrested and like, what was his name? Rick's, what was it?
I don't remember the nigga name. I just remember him as Pickle Boy.
Whatever his name is, he was arrested, indicted, whatever. And there was another producer, like big producer on the show.
Oh, Dan Schneider. But
no, Dan Schneider wasn't. No, there were two that were arrested.
I forgot the white boy name. It was,
but
like,
Dan Schneider wasn't.
His name was like, I forgot what his name was, but he was like sending inappropriate shit to like kids and shit.
I saw that he was like a producer. He was like emailing. I read up on it. So I saw that he emailed one of the stars like videos or pictures of him like.
I don't think she was a star. I think she
worked on one of the shows.
Yeah.
So she was young though, and he like sent her something like that, like, and the mom saw, and like, and a lot of these things were like the parents didn't. If the parents saw there was something weird, they weren't saying anything.
Yeah, like
to like further their children. So like in those situations, I've seen a lot of arguments of, do you blame the parents? Do you blame the network?
Yeah. You blame the parents. You blame the fucking, because if that's my kid, I'm killing somebody.
But in some situations, parents had no idea. And the kids wouldn't say anything.
Nah, they knew. From how the documentary is documented,
some
knew.
Parents, I feel like in certain situations, like some of the parents knew and were on some, I want my kid to be famous and I'm going to let them, like, whatever. And then I feel like other parents
not to sound like this, all the black parents, they got their kids up out of there. The white parents, man, y'all need to be parenting, bro, because Drake father, that nigga knew, he seen this nigga was a groomer, and the nigga just allowed.
Oh, it showed that in the like the dad knew.
Yeah, he knew. He was calling him out. He was pressing the nigga, but the nigga didn't respect his shit. And he essayed Drake.
I don't want to sound insensitive saying this, but this is another reason.
I'm only laughing, not at an essay. Don't cancel me. I'm laughing because niggas in the background is laughing and making me laugh.
No, so I don't want to sound insensitive in this, and this is a part of the reason that I haven't watched it, right?
Right.
Because when they first were putting out like the trailers for it and stuff, and they weren't saying, because up until it came out, the victim wasn't named, right? So Drake Bell named himself in the thing.
Yeah.
Up until then, it was like the name was taken out of like court documents and all this stuff. So at first, I was a little hesitant to watch it because I don't know if you know this, but in like 2021, Drake Bell was arrested, and he had like 2 years of probation for like endangerment of a child. He was like emailing back and forth with a 15-year-old, and like so. Beforehand, when I like saw like he sat down and like and the preview, like he just sat down and was like, in my head at first I was like, oh, he's going on here and now he's going with this to kind of take that heat off of him and his actions.
Okay, good. Because when I seen it,
You thought the same thing?
No, when I seen it, because the story with him and Pickle Boy, nigga go to his house, nigga wake up, he getting the BJ. I'm just like, damn, bro, like.
Oh, so he gave details of like what happened to him?
He didn't go into details, but the first time he gives it detail where he just wakes up and the nigga's just topping him off. And it's like, he insinuated that. We all fucking knew. See, I'm arguing with my girl over here. She acting like this
From
her
the
show.
clips that I saw, he didn't give so much detail as far as what he did. He just kept. I saw a clip that said he said the worst thing imaginable.
That's when he goes into after the first time. The first time he's like, "Yo, this," and I'm like, "Damn, this nigga woke up to a BJ like."
And I think he said he was like 15 at the time.
Black, I don't give a fuck, man. If I'm 15 years old in the hood and I wake up, I'm killing a nigga, bro.
But you were raised differently. You were raised around.
What?
Not even that, because, all right, so I'm going to get into therapist mode right now.
All right, go ahead.
So therapist mode, when it comes to SA and things like that, your body's natural response is two things, fight or flight. So you either can freeze in play and you cannot, and that's what happened to him, or you get into like fight mode where I'm going to run out of here, I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to do, it's two responses. And sometimes you don't know how you're going to respond in those situations. So I was a little insensitive when at first I was just like, I feel like he's just trying to take the heat off of whatever he did. But I also know that most of the time, people who are S8 as children and stuff, they often end up going and doing the same thing to others. So I feel like that's what might have or could have happened with Drake Bell, where he was groomed when he was 15. And now as a 30-year-old, 35-year-old, I think he was at the time, was getting ready to groom this 15-year-old. That doesn't make it okay. But it kind of tracks with the fact that something happened to him. So that part, I was like, okay, you know what? At first, I was like, I don't want to watch it because of that. But then I'm like, so I know that the documentary didn't cover a lot about Dan Schneider.
Nah, it was mostly about Dan Schneider. Yeah.
So they did talk about him a lot?
Yeah, they talked about him a lot. It just, Pickle Boy just was like, he stole the show. It was just like, God damn, this nigga is, I can't even say half the shit he was saying because we really going to get canceled. Yeah.
So, because with Dan Schneider, I've seen and heard things about him for years. There's a lot of people was like, oh, all these things are coming into light now, and nobody said nothing.
Good Burger 2 or whatever?
Yeah, but that's the thing. And I'm like, I've heard things about him forever. Like, his whole foot fetish things. Like, this man got, and if you
Where
can
did you hear this shit from? Because I didn't hear this.
I watch a lot of, like, old Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, like former child stars that do podcasts. And then there's some of them that have tried to speak up on it before and have gotten canceled. So then, and then also too, there's this YouTuber that, I can't think of her name.
Shout out to Orlando Brown, man, because we didn't believe you, my nigga. I thought you was on crack. I thought you was lying.
He is probably, but I do believe
that nigga was telling the truth about what happens to these fucking kids in Hollywood.
But like with Dan Schneider,
my daughter will never be in fucking Hollywood. You niggas.
But that's the thing. The parents you have to be more involved. Because like, for example.
They were involved though.
Involved in letting it happen.
No, they were like involved, and then it's kind of like it's happening, but especially you got to think about like during the times and shit like that, like people are making them seem crazy. Like with Drake's pops, right? Like the nigga, he seen it. He approached it. He went to the producers like, yo, I don't like this dude around my son. Da 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 da.
But why are you going to the producers
But the
and not to the police?
producers used the gay card. Like, oh, you just feeling this way because he's gay, and he it's kind of like they brainwashed the nigga in the
So
sense.
feeling like not like don't.
But still, it's kind of like, nigga, trust your fucking instincts.
Not
guy.
only that, then it's like, okay, if you're pressing the producers and they're not protecting your child, fuck the fame, fuck the money. Go to another network, go to another show. Let him be a real regular kid. Like, pull him out of that situation if you really feel like it's not safe.
But even with the other network, like when the whole Pickle Boy nigga, the shit came out, he did his 16 months. That nigga went to Disney Channel. Like, he just went to a whole nother network. So
I didn't even know that.
So it's just showing you like, yo, they don't really.
They protect. There's a cabal. They protect each other.
Yeah, Illuminati. Your mind, soul, and your body.
I don't know about the Illuminati, but no, they protect their own. Like, I read I don't know how true this is, but I read somewhere that the reason that Dan Schneider hasn't been taken down yet is because he holds so much power and he knows so much secrets that he basically said, if y'all come after me, everyone at Nickelodeon is being taken down. He
worded it in a very clever way. So he was just saying everything that I've allowed to be filmed and put out there, he was just like, it had to be okayed by people with a higher stat. So he pretty much put it out there.
Like, yeah, he put it out there, but it's like even like certain things, like for example, this is something that I've been like heard about, where like people had said that Zoe 101, the what's her name, Jamie Lynn Spears. This is like a conspiracy. I'll say it's a conspiracy theory because I don't know how true it is, but you know how she got pregnant and supposedly that's why Zoe 101 got canceled.
I didn't know nothing.
So that's why it got canceled. When she was like 16. She was like 16. She got pregnant, and they canceled the show because of that.
Yeah.
Because she got, and then she had like a high school sweetheart that she ended up, I think, like marrying or something like that. But there's rumors that her husband is not really her baby father, and that she got pregnant by an older producer on the show.
Schneider, damn.
Or like there's rumors, like if you go like on
shame,
there's a lot of like conspiracy theories of that. Like obviously we don't know if that's true or not, but I know that like and then around I know something. I saw a clip about like the cum shot, like in Zoe 101, where there was a scene where they like sprayed something on their face, and she said that she heard producers in the background saying, "Oh, that's a cum shot."
Yes, she didn't say it, but the other cast member, she said she didn't understand what the fuck. She didn't even know what cum was, which I think is cap because like. Who the fuck don't know what cum is at 15?
At that age, they're playing 15-year-olds, but they're not. They were probably like 12.
Like 15. Okay.
She was like 12. Yeah, they were they're younger.
Poor baby.
They're playing older, but they're younger a lot of times.
Poor kid. Damn. She probably did not know. So
there was a lot of stuff going on. There was obviously a lot of inappropriate stuff going on behind the scenes, but it was also things in front of the scenes. Like if you watch, for example, Victorious. Did you ever watch Victorious? Were you a Victorious fan?
No.
I kind of liked it. I wasn't a heavy watcher of it, but I did watch it. And even that's where like Ariana Grande got her start. So if you watch clips now of Ariana Grande, it's so freaking sexualized.
Yeah.
It's so like there's a scene where she's like backwards on the bed and she's just pouring water on herself for her cam videos, and she's like squirting things, and like she's sucking her toes on camera and like all these different things. And then there's the star of that show is Victoria Justice, and she's been like blacklisted from Hollywood.
Really? Why?
So people don't know, right? That was her star? That was her show. It was her main show, and then little by little, they started showing her less and less. And I think the last 2 seasons of the show, she wasn't even in the show. It was Ariana Grande and Elizabeth Giles, which is she played Kat. She's the girl that's in Dynasty.
I don't watch.
You don't watch Dynasty? I love her. I actually love her.
Power.
You watch. This man. But a lot of people say that she wasn't with all the creep shit that was going on like back and wasn't trying to basically give it up. So they made her into this villain where it was like they was coming out things that she was difficult to work with, that she was beefing with Ariana Grande, that all these things, and they kind of pushed her out of the show. And then it was, even now to this day, I think she's been in like maybe 2 movies and things like that. And she has like singing wise, she can sing, but she just hasn't been able to get back up to where she was.
They said with a lot of the parents that was trying to like
speak up
for them and shit like that. They were like, oh, they're too difficult, and they kind of manipulated the kids to be like, well, you shouldn't have this person on set because they're gonna fuck up your career. And they wind up pickle boy in them, man. Damn.
That's what they do. Like, that's what predators do. They isolate you from the people, like your protection system.
Where the fuck was To Catch a Predator for this shit? Like, come on, dog. We needed you. What was his name? Chris, what the fuck was his name?
Chris
Chris Hansen?
Hansen, is it? Chris Hansen, I think?
Chris Hansen, where the fuck was you at, dog?
But even that, like, so Elizabeth Giles, whatever, she played Jade, the one that had like the black hair, the piercing.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
That she was probably 14, 15 when she's doing these shows. She ended up marrying one of the like producers on the show. According to her, they never did anything until she was 18. And like they're still married to now, and she's like 30. She's 30 and he's 51. So it's a 21 age difference. So when she was like 14, 15 on stage, on set, he was like already in his 40s. So like I didn't do that, but you've known her since she was a kid. You were around her, so who knows what she was. And then a lot of the theories is unless you did stuff, and he's like one of Dan Schneider's best friends, the guy that she married. So that's another reason why you're like, why are these big stars not talking about the documentary?
Their research on this shit, because this shit wasn't in the documentary.
Yeah, that wasn't it. So there's certain things that's not like So the things I know is not like that's why I'm like, all right, I already know certain things. Do I want to kind of like see even more about that? So like
right.
That's a lot. Like, and so a lot of the people are saying that like, so just Victoria Justice didn't want to participate in that. She kind of stood her ground, and they clipped her from the show. They killed her career.
Damn.
And then kind of gave that place to Ariana Grande and Elizabeth Giles. And then Ariana Grande ended up going to do Sam and Cat.
Oh yeah.
So, and then Sam, the one that plays Sam, she has that book of I'm Glad My Mother's Dead.
Yeah.
And she talks about how her mom used to sexually like abuse her.
Damn.
And so if her mom was doing it, I'm pretty sure that she was getting things done to her on set of iCarly, and no one was protecting her either.
Damn.
But it's like, and the mom was like on some like, okay, well, as long as your career is this, your career is that. So it's like all these things was happening, and no one was protecting them. No one was doing anything for them. And then their kids.
Right.
You could sit here and be like, why didn't say why weren't there better people around them?
Life just deals you some fucked up cards sometimes.
I feel like it goes back to Hollywood, and like you could say the word that you always love saying.
What's Illuminati. The word? Shame? Oh, Illuminati. They're just gonna say shame. Like
shame. No, it goes back to that. And in certain cases, I do think it's not, and that's not saying that anything that happened to these kids are okay, because it's not. But in certain cases, the parents allow it, or the managers or whoever is around kind of turn a blind eye, because it's, well, you gotta do what you do for fame and fortune.
Yeah. Shout out to Lil JJ, because that nigga got canceled.
Who's Lil JJ?
He was on fucking Nickelodeon and shit. And
that's the one that that's the one that said he wasn't giving it up.
I got canceled after the second season because I'm not giving my booty up, and I respected that.
But all right, there's also a difference, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna get canceled for that. I'm not laughing. The situation's not funny.
I'm not laughing at it. I'm just saying.
I feel like as people of color, we have kind of like that dark humor that we kind of make fun of things, like bigger topics. But it's not only that. There's a difference between that, right? Where let's say he was propositioned, even though he was as a child, is still like that's still not okay. That's still whatever. Like being propositioned and being told, hey, if you do this, you're gonna get this.
Right.
Versus you're sleeping and you're waking up and someone's doing something to you. You know, and I'm not saying, because even if he was to be like, I am gonna give it up, you still are 15. You don't have that thing to decide to do that with an adult. Like that's still, you're being taken advantage of, regardless. But
I ain't even gonna comment.
I feel like they knew who to play with, and a lot of times predators know who to play with. They target the people who they know. I think I forgot what artist, but it was like that they didn't have like the ones that, let's say, their parents aren't around, so they give them to be cared for by somebody else, and then they hand them off to somebody else to be.
This might be a little controversial. When I was a kid in junior high school, there was a fucking predator running around named Wayne the Doodle Stain. And as soon
What was his name?
We called him Wayne the Doodle Stain. I don't know where he got the name from, but niggas called him Wayne the Doodles thing. He was a predator. I did not make this shit up. This is real shit. Real shit. True story. I'm going back in time right now since we talking about To Catch a Predator.
Okay.
And this nigga was running around doing shit to kids. And once I heard what he was doing to kids, I started carrying a screwdriver and a fucking butcher knife every day to fucking school because I'm like, if this nigga ever comes out on me, I'm gonna stab this nigga the fuck up.
Mm.
And one day, Wayne the Doodle Stain, literally, we crossed paths because you have to walk. I have to walk by his house to get to my house. And the nigga is out there and he's talking about snatching a nigga in his fucking crib. I pull out a butcher knife and a fucking screwdriver at the age of 14, and I'm like, nigga, what's good? And that nigga seen that big-ass butcher knife and that screwdriver, and he said, you got it. And that was it.
Wayne the Doodle Stain.
Wayne the Doodle Stain. Real shit.
But see, all right, like, I feel like...
My niggas was watching this that been through the trenches. They know who that nigga is. I'm dead ass serious, yo.
I believe him.
I'm dead serious.
I believe him.
This is real
Honestly,
shit.
I do. I believe you.
This is real shit.
But
I didn't make this up.
This is my thing. My where like how you're raised sometimes affects it too because like all right, you grew up in the hood, so it's like you have that street mentality. You have that that street knowledge where you're on some like try me. And not everyone has that. And even if they have that, like I said, fight or flight, sometimes people do just freeze in the moment and don't know how to react. And then, this is controversial, but I'm going to point it out because you made a comment about how all the black parents got their kids up out of there. But a lot of times, the black parents don't get their kids out of there when it's Uncle Bobby touching them. They want to be like, oh, keep that in the family. So let's not pretend that it's only
damn, she about
a
to be
white
my
thing.
op on this slide.
I'm just saying, no, because it's true. Because a lot of times, when it comes to like,
Kelly,
most of the time, people who are like a lot, I don't know the exact percentage. A lot of times, when people are S8, it's usually by someone they know and trust.
Nah, that's a fact.
A lot of times, you do have community, like, and especially the Black and Latino community, where you have those creepy uncles,
that's true.
And a lot of times families hush it. So it's the same, like, it's not saying that's understandable, but the same way they were like, oh, how could this happen? How could this happen? Look at your own families and look how it's happened to in your own community, in our own communities. It happens. And it's because people are too scared to call people out and say things. Look, this last week, a 19-year-old girl was stabbed and her sister was stabbed for telling a guy no outside of a store. All his homeboys is standing there. Not one of them could have been like, yo, she said no, let's go. No, you wildin'. They all hyping him up until he pull out a knife. And then like, yo. And then what happened? Girl lost her life because she don't want to fuck with you.
I think that's a little off a topic.
No, the whole point is people are quick to call out others' behaviors when it's not someone they know. Once they know them, oh, there's a few moms coming out right now like, oh, Dan Schneider is awesome. Thanks for what you did for my son's career. Why? Because they have a own connect. So you can make excuses for people when you have a good relationship with them. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that when the evidence is right there.
That's true to, I think, a certain degree, depending on, like, what people's moral compass is. Because it's like, if a nigga's on some bullshit with some kids, it's like, that's not flying with me. Like, my family, like, one thing my pops was really big on growing up was, like, the nigga said, if you go to, this is some terrible advice parents could give their fucking kids, but I guess my pops just knew me. And the nigga said, yo, if you go to jail for anything, I'll visit you except for rape and child molestation. Like, he's like, you could kill somebody, I'll go visit you. You could rob somebody. You could do whatever. But if you touch a child or you rape somebody, I'm never going to do the bit with you. So it's like, from young, I'm like, damn, okay, as a little, I'm like fucking 5-6 years old, this nigga telling me this shit. I'm like, okay, like,
I don't even know what that means.
I'm not even thinking about this shit. So I think it depends on your moral compass and what your parents.
Well, your parents are telling you.
This is terrible advice, but yo, fuck it. I stuck to the code.
So how did the because it was 4 episodes? Did you watch all 4?
Yeah, I watched all 4.
All 4. So was like the gist of every episode the same, or like was it just like more information as they go?
Like every episode, they kind of touched on different things, but like Dan Schneider was like
The main topic.
foundation. So like the first episode, they kind of like introduced like what was going on in Nickelodeon and like characters we kind of forgot about. Then the second one, they was talking about, I think the dude name was Josh or Jonathan, him emailing the girl. Then they touched up on Pickle Boy. And then the fourth episode was kind of like them just wrapping it up.
So how did they wrap it up? Like, what did they leave off on? Or like,
well,
what do you think is going to come out of this?
All these niggas got off scot-free. Like, they did all this crazy shit to these kids. And none of them really served the penalty that should have been due to them. I don't even, listen. The only criminals that need to be in jail is rapists and child molesters. Like, I don't be...
And murderers?
Depends on what you kill for. Yeah. Depends on what you kill for, B. Some niggas need to be out of here. But, and I'm not condoning murder, and I'm not telling nobody to go murder. But shit, some niggas gotta go. Some like Gucci Man said, some niggas need to be in the dirt. And that's it.
What do you think will come out of this? Because now I feel like a lot of it too is when these people went to jail or got probation or whatever, a lot of it like was swept under the rug. It was done backhand deals. It was all hush hush.
Yeah.
A lot of NDAs. Did the show talk about NDAs at all?
I don't really remember them talking about like NDAs and none of that shit, to be honest. Like, I don't remember them bringing none of that up. They didn't bring none of that up.
Cause like I watch I forgot the name of their podcast, but it's Christy Romano, the one that she voiced. She's in Even Stevens, and she's the voice of Kim Possible.
Right.
It's her and I forgot the girl's name, but the one that plays Chelsea in Ravens.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
No, not her. I'm lying. Not Chelsea. Well, she's been done an episode. Her and then the girl from Miley Cyrus too. The redhead. But they've done like episodes and stuff together, and they'll sometimes joke like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait for my NDA to expire so I can say this, that, and the third."
I didn't even know NDAs expired. That shit was for life.
No, so certain ones they expired, so they'll be like, you can't talk about certain situations for this amount of years.
Damn.
Because certain things is a statute of limitation.
Oh.
So they'll put it so that way when you do talk about it, they can't go to jail for it, basically. Yeah. So now that this is, and that's probably why this came out so late, because NDAs probably expired. Now people could talk about their experience there. Now they could talk about all these things. But they obviously double jeopardy, all that stuff. They can't get retried. Mm-hmm. But what do you think the outcome's going to come from it now?
I think it's probably going to raise more awareness, especially to like parents who want to get their kids into like Hollywood and shit and fame. It's like, it should allow parents to be more aware and supervise their kids. That's a good thing. Because the fucked up part is, I'm like, I was watching this shit. I don't know about you, but my dream was always to be on all that. So it's like, for years, I was like, damn. I was never on all that. After watching this fucking documentary, I say, yo, thank you, Jesus Christ.
For not putting me on there.
For not putting me on fucking all that. Because I'd have killed one of them niggas, B. Yo, my pops would have. Because that is crazy.
Thinking of all of that, like, I think someone said that they were, like, that's a clip that I did see where they were talking about Amanda Bynes. And that's what, like, another thing is why you see all these kid stars now look so out of it. Like you look at Amanda Bynes now with all the tattoos, the shit, like,
Bynes.
and all the shit that she went through behind, like, I think she compared her relationship with Dan Schneider to, like, a toxic, abusive relationship. And one of her characters and all that, remember, like, this little stalker girl?
Oh, yeah.
Penelope Taint.
Penelope Taint. I didn't even know what Taint was until the fucking documentary.
Well, I knew what Taint was. When I was little, I didn't. But, like, I know what that is. And, like, him saying...
Explain what Taint is.
So, Taint is the gooch. So, the skin between the scrotum and the butthole, or the vagina.
I learned that shit the other day. So,
that's the Taint. And according to someone that was in the writer's room, Dan Schneider, when he named the character, was like, don't tell anyone that Taint is that's what it means. Like, if they just ask me, like, ha ha ha, like, it's just her last name. And there was, like, a lot of things that went on in the writer's room that was, like, super icky and wrong. Like, there was one female writer that said, there was only 2 female writers on the show, and they had to share a salary. So according to him, that was like, I don't know how true this is. According to him in his interview, he said that that's a common practice when it's like one job. If two people are good for it, you'll be like, oh, well,
Right,
if
he
y'all
was
both want
capping,
it.
yeah.
I feel like he's capping. But these two female writers had to share their salary. And the female writer, one of them said that one time when she was giving like an idea for the show, she had to pretend she was getting sodomized. So she had to pretend that she was getting in her butt.
Can we say sodomy on this damn thing? Or we gonna
If
get
not,
canceled?
we gonna cut it out. But she had to
We
pretend
good.
she
We
was
good. We can say sodomy.
She had to pretend
Not that we okaying it.
She had to pretend that she was getting it like in her butt while she was giving out the ants, and like that he would make them like say out loud like weird ass like scream out and moan stuff like.
I feel what you went through, but ain't no fucking job that important to me. Like I'd have just walked the fuck out of there. Like fuck.
So
as a
this
man,
is, I'm not gonna hold you, and that's
man's.
a privilege that you have as a man.
As a woman too.
As a man, you have that privilege because a lot of times women who are in spaces that are not a lot of women in that spaces, you do deal with a lot of BS like that of the innuendos, the microaggressions, all these things, and a lot of times you have to weigh the things. I know I'm one of the only. There's only two female writers in this thing. Am I being too harsh? Is it just a joke? At least he's not, because obviously, well, these women, they weren't touching them. They were touching the kids. But so they're just like, oh, for me to just take a joke, I just have to deal with it because at the end of the day, I need a paycheck. And if I could last a year here, I could use it as a credit. Oh, I worked here for a year and I could go somewhere else where I don't have to deal with that. So they kind of have to stick through it or feel like they have to stick through it. But that just ends up making people like Dan Schneider keep feeling like they can do whatever they want.
Not taking anything away from what they went through, but I just feel like you gotta kind of outweigh what matters most, like your dignity, your pride. Like
sometimes you don't have that luxury.
Why do you say that?
Because sometimes you don't have the luxury of weighing. If they have, like, let's say they got kids at home, they're the only one working, they're the only one providing, and this is the only skill that they have, or the only job that they can get at the time, or that pays enough to feed their kids, and they're just like, you know what? If I'm gonna write here, let's say for a year, and then go to another job, can I suck up the jokes? I'm not talking about like the essays and the getting touched on and things like that, but can I deal with the sexist jokes for a year?
I thought you was gonna say suck up something else. I was like, wow.
The uncomfortability. But even with that, like
Sorry.
in other, like you look at.
It's hard to be. I'm sorry.
We're gonna cancel this show. We're gonna cancel this episode, bro. Because
it's not funny, but yeah.
you have to
my
look at
God.
it and you have to see, like, okay, like you're never in that person's shoes, so you never know their reactions. Or then sometimes it might be like they can be a person who will be like, oh, like I've, as a woman myself, I've been in uncomfortable situations where I've frozen. I've been in uncomfortable situations where I've reacted, and you never know what you're gonna get in that moment. So a lot of the times it's like you can sit here and be like, if that was me, I'm gonna do this, but you never know until you're in that moment.
Do you feel like your reaction is more flight or fight?
I think it depends on the situation. Like I remember I was in an elevator once, and a guy pulled out his thing in the elevator.
Wow. What elevator was this?
I was a teenager at this time. I was definitely drunk. I was coming home from like a high school party or something like that. And he didn't live in my building. And it's late.
Damn.
It's like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm by myself and I'm getting in the elevator. He gets in the elevator with me, and he didn't say anything. He didn't try to touch, like he just pulled out his thing and he's just standing there like that. And I was shaking, but I took my keys. I had my keys like but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yo, I would have, like, when I thought, like, I spent the whole next day, like, oh, I should have punched him, I should have this. I had my keys in my hand, like, ready just in case he did try to do something. But I was just like this, waiting, like waiting for the elevator to hit my door. And then I walked out. When I walked out, I was like, you fucking, I started, he was Spanish. So I was like, you fucking cochino, which is like, you disgusting motherfucker. And then I ran to to my house.
Wow.
So, like, in that moment, but then I've had other situations where somebody does something and I'm swinging on you, I'm this or that. Like, it depends on the moment. You never know. Especially in my head, I'm like, I'm drunk. The nigga could easily and I'm young. I'm like, he could have easily overpowered me, took me to the stair. Like, you never know. And it's like 2 in the morning, nobody's up and shit. And
Right.
So it's like in those situations, that's kind of cut clear because it's like, okay, it's a stranger and things like that. But I've been in like, I've heard other situations with people where it's like a friend of them makes a pass at them and they feel and they don't know what to do or like say
right,
something like
right.
touch on them inappropriately. Like you never know how you're gonna react in that moment.
That's a fact.
And then especially with these kids, you look at it and you're like, if they did tell their parents or their parents knew and didn't do anything, then they're like, okay, well then what am I gonna do? If my mom's gonna let it happen, my dad's gonna let it happen.
So do you feel it's wrong to like put hands on these sickos that's running around?
Absolutely
flashing?
not. I
Okay.
feel that predators should be medically castrated.
All right. Okay. Damn.
That's my personal
agree.
opinion. I feel that they should be medically
Do you think that's
castrated.
going to stop the sickness, or do you think?
Again, from a therapist perspective, if they're medically castrated, they can't obviously they still can do things, but it cuts their function off. And with therapy, they can curve the urges. Like I have there's a podcast that I listen to, and she's a therapist. Her specialty is like she's a sex therapist, a sex educator, whatever. But she works with a lot of predators. But the
These niggas just walking around like
that are either out of jail or have never actually done something to someone, but they just have the urges.
they're trying to get hurt. Okay.
Like the clinical term that she uses is like minor attracted people. I personally won't use that. Like,
why can't they just date like midgets and shit? Like, do you think
most of the time it's they've gone through some shit and then they're
so it's
like
they want specific,
yeah, they're
okay.
basically reliving what they went through.
Terrible.
It is terrible. But like a lot of them that say if they are medically castrated, they don't have that urge or the ability to do something. And then with therapy, they learn to curve their behavior. They learn to stop and not do those things. And I think it's not about normalizing it because it's not okay. It's not something to normalize.
Right.
But it's something to say that obviously someone who thinks like that is sick. That is a sickness.
Right.
And they need help. Obviously, if you do it, you should. I ain't gonna say what you should be, but like I'm.
What are your thoughts on? Because I've been hearing like how they're trying to make that like pedophilia or sexual orientation.
No,
like,
that's cap.
That's cap.
That is cap. That is not real. That is not true. No one that is really in the LGBTQIA community agrees with that.
Okay.
That's propaganda.
Okay.
That's propaganda of people who are pedophiles and stuff trying to say that and trying to normalize it in that way, and people who are against LGBTQ, like trying to make it even more like, oh, that's what they do. Like, no, that's not it.
So that's good information.
Yeah. But I think like I'm not gonna hold you. I've had as a therapist, it makes me see things differently.
Yeah.
For the example fact, like I had I worked at a clinic for like a year and change, and I used to always say I would never be able, like therapy-wise, I would never be able to work with people who hurt kids or like sexual, SA kids or anything like that. And one of my favorite clients, I had been working with him for a year, and he had like anxiety, depression, things like that. Like we would work, we would talk and stuff. And he was also a recovering addict. And in one of our sessions, he admitted that one of the times when he was high off whatever his choice of drug was, he sexually assaulted his child.
Wow.
And as a therapist, I dealt with it. You know, we talked about the feelings. We talked about like how they were able to like move past it, like and and she was able to forgive him and whatever it was. And like afterwards, I needed my own therapy session because I was like, I always said I wouldn't work with this population. I wouldn't this.
Right.
And I'm trying to use my words carefully. Like obviously they're human, but like he was already humanized in my eyes. I was working with him for a year already before this information was relevant to me.
Copy.
So it's like I saw him as this whole person, and not just as what he did. Obviously, I'm not okaying it. That's not okay. But it made it like for me to see like, damn, you know what? I could work with this population because I could work with like I wouldn't not judge them because I'm gonna judge it a little bit, but like I could work with that population as in. It wasn't like he was not making excuses for it. It wasn't continuous. It was like in a drugged out state where he didn't know, like, and that's not making excuses for it. But it was just like that, just having that and be like, damn, I really like this client. There's a client that I've made so much progress with. I'm not going to see him anymore because it's my job. I have to keep treating you. But it's like, damn, it really opened to my eyes. And now I see like, okay, like anyone is capable of anything.
Mm.
So like that, like it changed my perspective on things a little bit in a way, but not really at the same time.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I guess because you had like the relationship with him.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Whereas like people can they tend to normalize when they have the relationship, and that doesn't make it okay. Like it's still, if anything needs to change, people need to call people out on their bad behaviors. Y'all niggas need to call y'all ain't shit niggas and y'all ain't shit friends out on their behaviors. SA doesn't always mean you're holding someone down and taking it from it. The guy that's like, yeah, let's get this girl so lit so then she could be with it. You're a predator. You're a predator. And I see that a lot in our community. Yeah, give her another shot. Give her another shot. Yeah, give her another shot. Give her. Oh, why? Oh, that's the only way she gonna let me. Nah, you're a predator. You're a creep. Like, you're waiting. Or the guys, oh, well, she was mad drunk. She's like, those.
I've had a few MILFs try to do that to me too. So
and women can be predators too.
They're predators too?
Women can be predators too, but I feel like a lot of times people don't see it as that if the woman is hot.
I feel like if a hot woman is, I don't know, maybe my mind is fucked up.
No, it's sexual. It's the sexualization that if the woman is hot, I hear so much stories of young guys, as they say, when they lost their virginity, they'd be like, oh, I was 12 and she was 20. That was my babysitter. That was this. And it's like this hot fantasy. And it's like, no, if you say that the other way around, if I say I'm 12 and I lost it to my 20-year-old babysitter, you're going to say he was a creep, he was this, he was that.
I remember there's a South Park episode where the nigga, he was young and he had a sexual experience with an older woman, and the parents was trying to take him to the police station and be like, yo, this lady did this to my son. But as soon as he said it was a woman.
It was Butters.
Yeah.
Butters. I saw that episode.
And I don't know why, but I think niggas, we just think like that.
It's because y'all wired to like not speak up on it or like think it's no big deal. And it's like, it's again swept under the rug. And there's those things you don't think, these things aren't going to change unless people start calling it out and for calling a spade a spade.
So how does a nigga who doesn't see that as a problem, like how can you see that as a problem?
You start to look at the patterns and you look, because most of the time, the ones that have gone through things like that, you can see how it affects. They may not see it, but then you can see how it affects them. You will look at, let's say in therapy, you could look at their dating life, how they treat women, how their relationships with women are compared to their relationship with men, how they see, like, how they see the world, how they treat women, how they see themselves. And you can see a pattern of a lot of times they have trust issues with women. Or they have, they tend to go for older women, not because they like, but because that's what they, are used to from being abused. So a lot of, like, you have to look at it as a scope of things, not just what happened. How did it affect you?
Okay. That's deep. I got a problem, y'all. I got a problem. Thank you for helping me figure out I got a damn problem.
You got a damn problem? Yeah. A lot of y'all got problems. That's the thing. I'm not gonna say names. I'm not gonna say names or relations, but I know someone who they were maybe 16. They lost their virginity to their teacher. They went to a Catholic high school.
Wait,
a female teacher.
A guy
lost his virginity to a female teacher. And he wasn't the only one that he was sleeping with. But he was smart about it, and he didn't do anything on school campus.
Nelly got me so fucked up. I don't know whether to salute this nigga or feel bad.
No, so listen. So she ended up getting caught and doing jail time. She ended up getting caught and doing jail time because
he told
no, he didn't. But the other, like, he wasn't the only one. So there was another kid in the school that she was doing something. And he started bragging about it, and then it got back, and then they found videos of them like in the elevator at school. Or like in the hallways kissing and stuff at school, where the other guy never did anything with her.
I want to say something so bad.
But hold on, so listen, the guy who like, oh yeah, he didn't do nothing in public, he was low about it. To this day, like, he probably sees it as, oh, I lost it to an older woman, that's it. But up until, I want to say he's in his, like, about to be 40. But I want to say from 15 to about 30 something, he was a serial, like, womanizer. He didn't treat women with respect. He had relationships that he didn't value. He would cheat on every girl he was with. He was always sleeping with someone. Why? Because you were 15. This lady was in her 30s, and you didn't take that in. You didn't process that. and you didn't process the trauma that caused you, that she groomed you and did what she did with you, and then went and got do the same thing with your friend, and then was running around the school doing things. And it's like, yeah, a lot of times, men, y'all just keep going forward, and y'all don't stop and process the trauma that y'all go through, so that it affects the way y'all relate to other people.
True story. In my junior high school, one of the finest teachers niggas would fantasize about all the time. You know, you're in junior high, you're going through these puberty and all this and that. Maybe like 2-3 years after we graduate, they call her sleeping with a teacher or being a student. I'm just like, damn, why you couldn't groom me, baby?
I ain't gonna hold you.
Why you couldn't groom me,
baby? You went to high school with me, or you went to my high school, you know what teacher I'm talking about. But we had a fire-ass teacher / dean, and he was fire. Oh my God. You know I only like chocolate men, and this man was not chocolate. He was whiter than snow, but he was so fire. And I remember when I turned 18, I walked into class, and I said, I'm 18 now, and I could keep a secret. He's like, Brainelli, can you please sit down? He was so fucking fire. To my knowledge, he didn't do anything with no students, but there was another teacher who got caught doing something with a student, and he was also smashing her mom. And the girl didn't know he was smashing her mom.
He was a sick fuck, man. I don't know. This is a double standard. I'm sorry.
It is. And the whole point is call out your boys and watch your kids. Watch who you let around your kids.
It's a double standard.
Anything else that I should know about the quiet on the set, since I haven't watched it yet?
We talked about the cum shot. We talked about the feet fetish. We talked about Fr33. I'm Noseboy. It's crazy because Noseboy, this is how they be getting you racially charged. Because I didn't even realize the nigga's nose was a dick. The whole time I'm just mad because I'm like, why they put this big ass nose on this black kid? And then they said it was subliminally a dick.
Penis.
So that was like, it showed me like, damn, they just try to get you automatically fired up. But
that's the thing. I feel like in that industry, they get away with what you allow.
Yeah, that's true. Show me not to be so quick to really kind of peep.
And like now, it makes me want to like really like super monitor what your children are watching. Because I think see, like for me, I think it was different because I'm watching all these shows. My mom don't know English. She don't know what the heck I'm watching. So it's like,
you're grown now, so
I know, but I'm saying like during like a lot of times that happens too, where it's like my mom couldn't monitor what I was watching because she didn't know what the hell they're saying. Right. She just sees cartoons or she just sees little kids, so she's not thinking. But like me, if I'm walking and I'm like, hey yo, like I'm not like, for example, I don't let my daughter watch Peppa Pig. There's a whole study done that children who watch Peppa Pig are more disrespectful than kids who don't.
Oh, wow.
Do you see how she talks back to? She's always fat shaming her dad. Poor Daddy Pig. Always calling him fat. Always be like, you can't do that. You're too fat. Y'all all pigs.
Damn.
Y'all all the same size.
That's crazy.
But it's like certain things now that as like I watch, like if I put it on and like if I see something or hear something, if I'm like, hey, yo, you're not watching that again.
Right.
Even if you don't understand fully what you're not watching that because again, subliminals, all those things are going back into your head. Even like Disney stuff. There's a whole video that that's why I know these things because I watch conspiracy theory videos. And if you watch a lot of the old Disney
conspiracy theory videos,
a lot of like Disney old movies, they have like penises in the background and things like that, where it's like you may not see it and watch it, but it's going into your head.
Right.
And they wonder why this generation, why we so freaky. There's all the penises in the cartoons.
I blame it on Disney.
But yeah.
It's your fault.
So watch your kids, watch what they watching, call out your ratchet ass friends, call out your sick friends that is being predators, and hold them accountable. Right.
We used to whoop. True story. Shout out to my nigga Hood, B. East Side. You know what I'm saying? One day, we on the block right now. One day, we was on the block and we was leaving. We was on the 2 train right there on 238th. I don't know how Hood saw this, so the train is just going by fast. And he sees a nigga jerking off on the train. So Hood is a little firecracker. So he's just like, nah, fuck that. We in this cart over here. I just seen a nigga jerking off. So we just thinking like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, nigga, mind your business. Like, what the fuck? But he's like, nah, it could be fucking kids on this train.
Mm-hmm.
that point, we ran up on the train. As soon as we run on the train, the nigga tucks his shit in. And he's like, yo, what the fuck was you just doing? And the guy, some Indian guys is like, yo, nothing. He's like, nah, you just jerking off on this train. Nigga just start popping on him. And I'm like, yo, fuck it. We doing this for the kids, y'all. We doing this for the kids.
For the kids. And there's a lot of times you see things like that on the train.
Beat they ass.
You see people exposing themselves.
Yeah.
You see people doing all these weird
Beat
stuff.
they motherfucking
And a lot
ass.
of times people don't call them out. So that's you want things to change, start calling people out. Caso
Fact.
cerrado.
That's my nigga.
That's
Believe on? My nigga, believe on. East side, nigga, come on the pot. My nigga. What's good, nigga? Yo. So I guess that's the end of the episode. We lit.
I tried. Y'all see me, right? I be trying. He don't be listening to me.
Yo. Episode 10.
The last episode is gonna get us canceled.
Season finale. Toast up, man.
Cheers.
See y'all niggas.
Yeah, wait for season 2.
Season 2, we ain't canceled from this shit.
If we don't get canceled, season 2. What else we got coming for them? We got some stuff coming for y'all.
Merch.
We got merch.
Everything.
We got possibly some other stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Stay
Parties,
tuned.
all type of shit.
Stay tuned.
Free to send a Nutty Nails.
Daddy.
Black Label. We off this.
I just want it all. I wanna break the law. Shit been off the wall. Hit me when I call.